I'm sorry. I had to stop my car because I'm having a panic attack. Donald Trump, in his speech, just declared war on America. What is happening? What is happening? I'm in the middle of a panic attack. That's all I have to say.
Donald Trump just declaring war on the United States. He is stating that we, the United States citizens, are the threats of the United States. And that he wants war with the military coming in and taking care of business. I knew this was going to happen the minute I saw it yesterday when he was barricading the White House. Why would he barricade the White House? Because maybe the United States citizens aren't going to put up with this shit? I don't know. What the hell do you guys think?
So are people going to wake the fuck up or no? We're just going to act like this is all normal. This is just another day in America. Donald Trump is no different than any other president. Is that what we're going to do? He literally just summoned generals, the top leaders of the military, generals, admirals, all the top guys, summoned them, told them to leave their posts and come to Virginia so that he could talk to them. He and his Secretary of War, a fucking drunken Fox News host. And in his little fucking speech to the generals, this demented old buffoon, Donald Trump, literally told the leaders of the military that he wants them to use American cities as training grounds for the military. And he told them that our war is in the American cities. He just told military leadership that he is at war with the American people. We're going to do anything about that? We're going to even talk about that or no? We're just going to, hey, you see, what's on Netflix? Is that what we're going to do? Oh, let's scroll through some more fucking dance videos on TikTok. Is that what we're going to do? Yeah. You know what? That is probably what we're going to do. Until it's too late to do anything about it, right?
The regime is declaring fucking war on the American people! Trump is calling our cities, San Francisco, Chicago, LA, enemy fucking battlefields! He told the top generals that the US should use our own cities as training grounds for the military! This is fucking treason! We're entering a fascist militia state right in front of our fucking eyes! And while all this is happening, children, innocent children, are being locked up by ICE in a remote part of Texas for more than 20 days without clean water, without real food, without fucking sleep. They're being tortured with sleep deprivation, no medical care, no hygiene products, just emotional and physical fucking abuse. This is human rights abuse against kids. This is fucking cruelty. October 18th, New King State 2.0, nationwide protest. Stand the fuck up!
Donald Trump keeps threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, like he's done a half a dozen times over the past 12 months, because this is what he does anytime he wants people to remember that he has power. Yes, Donald, you are president. Mother and I are very proud of you. But this time it's a bit funnier, because he acknowledged that the current conditions don't call for it anywhere. But if there were a loss of life and the government was unable to stop it, that he would invoke it, which, yes, that is the literal definition and purpose of the Insurrection Act. And no, it is not martial law. And just as a reminder to everybody, there is no legal pathway to martial law in this country. What people have to remember is that if there were ever uncontrolled violence in this country, governors would ask for help, as they did in Los Angeles in 1992 after the Rodney King verdict. The mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California both requested help. The act was invoked, order was restored, and everyone went back to their lives. But that's not what's happening here. He knows it, the governors know it, the military knows it, we all know it. This whole thing is was one big cynical performance at the expense of our safety, our economy, and our military readiness. The Insurrection Act was written to restore order when order breaks down, and it was specifically not written to provide a president a workaround, and our Constitution, our laws, our judges, and our mostly sovereign states refused to obey his irrational and unjustified orders. And that is exactly what these orders are, because none of these things have anything to do with keeping people safe. It's because a couple of weeks ago he found out even though he was 10 points underwater on crime, it was still his best performing issue. So he decided he needed to do whatever it took to bring everyone's attention to it, even if it means causing more of it. So to anyone in Chicago or Portland, regardless of what he does with the National Guard, regardless of whether or not he actually invokes the Insurrection Act, do not take his bait, because this is not our fight. This is his fight, and the only way he could possibly win it is if we join in. And then he can say, see, I was right. We already went through this whole thing in Los Angeles, and we won, because he used his judgment to send in the Marines and the National Guard, and what they found was people walking their dogs and going to brunch. And as a result, he looked like a fool who wasted almost $150 million of our dollars. Allow this to be a referendum on him and his lack of judgment. Because as we saw on January 6th, violence is the language of failure and the tactic of losers. Our fight is legal, our fight is peaceful, and our fight will bring the country back to its senses, one free and fair election at a time.
Did you folks just see Donald Trump declare war on American cities? He was speaking in front of American military generals, the top guys from all of these different bases around the world, Asia, Europe, the United States, obviously. And he just straight up said, yeah, we're going to go into American cities and use them as training grounds. He started with his usual line, which is America's under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within, no different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. What? Then he started to compare himself to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, Grover Cleveland, George Bush, and others. All used the armed forces to keep domestic order and peace. Perhaps he should brush up on history. I'm not sure if he's ever opened a history book, but he's wrong. And then he just came out and said it straight up. He said San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, that's a war too. It's a war from within. I told Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, we should use some of those cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. We're going into Chicago very soon. He's saying we should use blue cities as training grounds for our military. Truly, the speech of all these military leaders is one of the most disgraceful and embarrassing things we've seen from an American president.
In shocking twist, Donald Trump isn't declaring this war to the American enemies or the foreign enemies. He's declaring to his own people, the people who voted for him. Now, the city that is filled with the Americans, now it has now become a threat to the United States. Like, how can someone be an enemy to his own country? Imagine Trump rebelling to Americans, not terrorists, not foreign agents, but American citizens as threats. Now, my question is, what does this say about the state of democracy and civil liberty? And the military being sent to the cities, I feel it's more dangerous. Close to martial rule. A true leader, if there is chaos, he should seek for peace, for unity, declaring war to Americans. I think that's not a good leadership. I think it's authoritarianship. It's a direct assault on the American people, led to the protest, doesn't exist. My name is Mary React. Kindly share, like, comment.
Donald Trump isn't just running his mouth like he usually does. He is declaring war on Americans. He said it today, that inner cities are a big part of war. Their open contempt for cities that they don't agree with, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's Portland, whether it's Chicago, New York City, they are threatening Americans. This is so wrong on so many levels. It is a coup that is happening as we speak, as we live our lives. They're gutting our institutions. They're taking everything away from working Americans, and we're not going to let this happen. People like Brad Sherman are complicit. They have no intention of pushing back or saying anything. If you can donate to our campaign, which is a grassroots campaign of $10, $15, It makes a difference so we can meet our goals, so we can continue our grassroots movement. And that's what we're going to do. Let's go.
Together with many of you in the room, we've brought back the fundamental principle that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within.
The President of the United States just declared war on American citizens. That's what's happening. And I'm having a libation at 10 a.m. because fuck it. So that whole thing of Pete Hegseth calling generals in the War Department all together at Quantico was to announce essentially to them and to the American people that they are declaring war on us. And we're seeing it right now. They are deploying ICE in American cities, and they're not just rounding up immigrants anymore. In Chicago the other night, they rounded up American citizens. They went into apartments and rounded up American citizens and their children. They arrested them, took them all in, and were looking for anyone who had warrants and had their children in zip tie handcuffs. That actually fucking happened, and they were American citizens, but ICE didn't care. All of our policies abroad that we've had for decades now, infiltrating governments, couing them, treading all over the civil liberties of foreigners in other countries because, well, that's happening over there, it's not happening here. That's all been practice for this moment. Those same things that we as American people kind of looked the other way on, didn't really care too much about, didn't get too involved because it was over there. It's going to be here now. It's time to get involved. It's time to organize, show up to protest, to local meetings, because now we, the American people, are public enemy number one. Follow and like for more.
They've declared war on us. Trump stood at Quantico barking about an enemy from within, daring generals to fall in line while he sketched out turning cities into training grounds. Hegseth mocked fat generals daring officers to resign like disloyalty deserves exile. Policy talk never entered that room. Raw intent stood in plain view, laying the ground for troops in the streets, guard units federalized, loyalists promoted, dissenters crushed. Within days, the hammer dropped. Portland saw guard units rolled out under federal command, paired with ICE and DHS. Then came Chicago. Federal agents reinforced, ICE facilities militarized, troop requests despite local opposition. In California, Trump has already federalized the California National Guard and ordered thousands of troops into Los Angeles, including Marines, overruling Governor Newsom. In D.C., he declared a crime emergency, placed local police under federal control, and deployed federal law enforcement and guard units. On September 22nd, he signed an executive order branding Antifa, anti-fascists, a terrorist organization, the first U.S. president to label a domestic movement as such. Residents felt the chill slam into their chest, the same way occupied towns overseas feel it when foreign soldiers march in. Fear landed heavy, but resistance rose harder because people know what it means when Washington declares war on its own neighborhoods. And this is only the opening act. Trump has already pushed to federalize more guard units and drafted legal schemes to bypass governors. He's floated quick reaction forces staged near cities, a standing domestic garrison. Active soldiers may be sent into flashpoints like Chicago, Atlanta, or LA under the cover of protecting federal property. Commanders who resist get mocked, purged, or replaced with loyalists. States. Expect more executive orders branding movements terrorist, opening the door for raids, mass arrests, and joint ops where soldiers blur into cops and jailers. ICE and DHS deep infusion with armed forces erasing lines until no one can tell soldier, cop, or jailer apart. Courts stacked with friendly judges already rubber stamp pieces of this plan. Media campaigns will paint protesters as radicals, terrorists, the enemy within. Surveillance grows tighter every month while propaganda screams, restoring order and defending democracy. This didn't begin yesterday. Union density collapsed to 9.9% in 2024, stripping workers of power while bosses ruled by fear. Police killed over 1,300 people last year, thousands more battered without headlines. Poverty clung to 10.6%. Child poverty spiked when aid got axed. Appalachia knows the script. Coal miners fighting for unionizations this year were met with firings and armed guards just like their ancestors. Now the blueprint expands towards martial law zones, curfews, checkpoints, red areas where rights may vanish at a pin stroke. Stop pretending this is politics as usual. My bones know better. Barricades abroad taught this lesson. Barricades at home prove it sharper. Power will brand survival crime, call protests terror, label whole neighborhoods, ranges. Cameras will look away. Headlines will soften it. Anchors will coat it in lies until people forget they watch troops occupy streets. But communities cannot wait for approval. Kitchens must feed before kids starve. Court defense must turn charges into counterpunches. Patrols with cameras and trained eyes must make pigs think twice before swinging batons. Strike funds must keep families alive while bosses sweat their profits. Media from our own mouths must beat propaganda before it lands. Every block must hold its own med kits, meals, rides, and lookouts. Feed, protect, document, defend. Fights Back goes beyond a slogan. A survival plan built in kitchens, patrols, bail funds, and neighborhoods that refuse to be broken. Rent gets covered, mouths fed, neighborhoods trained, trust rebuilt so fear never fractures us. Organize like your life depends on it, because it does. Mobilize with steel, not vibes. Resist without apology. Stop begging permission from the people sending troops against us. Join Fights Back. Bring your crew, church, hall, and block. Build what we need now so we don't crawl later. Tighten ranks, sharpen focus, stand together. Power folds only under force. Pressure comes from us. Waiting is death, and momentum is life.
To my military brothers and sisters, how far is too far? Like, how far are you willing to go before you just say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore? Like, is it going to take them asking you to take your mom's life, your kid's life, your wife's life, your spouse's, husband, whoever, any type of family member? And I ask that simply for this reason here.
To our enemies, FAFO. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
And I know y'all like, Maya, he just said our military. Yeah, but before he said that, Trump said this.
What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places. And we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. Controlling the physical territory of our border is essential to national security. We can't let these people in.
So for the people who joined the military because they wanted a way out, they wanted to become, financially stable and all the benefits and things like that, when they send you into the inner city where you are from, because a lot of y'all came from hard times, What are you going to do when it's your high school sweetheart that you have to pew pew, or your aunt or your grandma? What are you going to do?
Wow, who could have predicted this shit? So y'all know Trump just spoke to the generals and all the high military officials earlier today, and he quote unquote said he is declaring war on American cities and the American people. And he also said that he's going to be quote unquote going inside these dangerous cities in America and using these cities as practice grounds for the military. Now, whatever he mean by that, I have no idea. But I'm not even surprised at all at this point, because this is the administration that we voted for. At least y'all did. But he also said that we have enemies inside the country that he's willing to neutralize if possible. But he want our military to have the training that they need so that they can be prepared for what's to come. Now, whatever he mean by that, I don't know. But the fact that this man is up here is declaring war on his own people is crazy. And what makes it worse, it might be every major city in the United States, including the citizens. And he also said that he's going to be going to Chicago full force very, very soon. So I don't know what he got planned for Chicago, but it don't sound pretty at all. But I honestly do think that we're gearing up for something that is big is about to happen. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like something is coming up by the end of the year. And if it ain't happening by the end of the year, it's definitely happening the first couple months of 2026. But I mean, at the end of the day, what y'all think about this whole situation, man? Do y'all think he's bluffing or what? Let me know y'all opinion in the comments. Peace.
Donald Trump just declared war on the U.S. citizens, on U.S. cities. He said that the cities of the United States will be used as training grounds for the military and the National Guard. He said the enemy is from within. He said we'll be going into Chicago next. Are these things that the President of the United States should be saying? Should he be declaring war on U.S. citizens? The answer is no. No, he should not. And if you continue to normalize this behavior and don't speak out, we soon will be Russia 2.0. We will be North Korea 2.0. The President of the United States just declared war on U.S. citizens and cities. It is time we do something. This is out of control.
We now know what Trump and Hesketh's meeting of the generals was all about, and it's about them declaring war on American cities. That's right. They want to declare war and wage war in our inner cities in America. This is what Trump said. He even suggested using our cities as training for the military in war. If you are not understanding this yet, Trump wants to use our military against us, the people of America. He said that inner cities are a big part of war now. A big part of war. That's what Trump said. If this doesn't disturb you, I don't know what will. This should be upsetting to every single American in this country. Never in the history of this country has a president openly declared war on Americans and American cities. He even started off his speech to the generals and admirals by saying, if you don't like what you're hearing here, you can leave and you'll lose your rank and you'll lose your future. Now, this ass clown is still going on with his speech, so we'll see what else gets said, if anything else like this crazy shit that's going on is said. But I hope our military stands strong and defends our Constitution that they swore an oath to all enemies, foreign and domestic. Let me know if you agree. Let me know what you think about this. Comment, like, share, spread the word. Let everyone know that the President of the United States is declaring war on our American cities. Follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Breaking news. Donald Trump just declared that American cities should be used as training grounds for the U.S. military. He said that the United States is at war with itself, calling Americans the enemy within. Trump stood before military leaders and warned that any general who doesn't agree with his style of command should step down. This is a direct challenge to the core principle that the military serves the Constitution, not a single politician, not even the president. His defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, backed him up, declaring an end to what he called political correct military leadership and demanding total loyalty to the president's vision. Now, this is important to know, guys. Under American law, the military is restricted from policing civilians, but Trump's language goes beyond law enforcement. He is framing cities like Portland, Chicago, and New York, San Francisco as battlefields and framing ordinary Americans as enemies to be fought. Now, guys, this is not just rhetoric, okay? Trump is signaling that he wants to use the military in a new way, an unprecedented way, against his own people. And it gets even more scary because if senior generals resign, the command structure could basically be filled with MAGA loyalists. If they don't, then they risk being forced to follow orders that test the limits of the Constitution and their oath. America's military has never been openly told to prepare for war against its own citizens, and today